From the farthest seat to the left, in the second row of Mr. Decker's first period English class, I would watch her. At 7:56 every morning, she would take her seat in front of the class, sitting with her friends, folded always right over left, staring blankly at the chalkboard until the bell rang at 8:05. Her name was Madeline Finch, and in her entirely, she was unremarkable. Tied brown locks loomed over her shoulders, fair skin littered with freckles across that flat nose, and the eyes shade of tousled oil on the freshly dug grave. Yes, she was plain. So plain, in fact, that I could not help myself in stealing glances at whenever the opportunity presented itself. Often I would try to catch her gaze, if only for a minute, but she would never look my way. In fact, she always seemed to be so asphyxiated in the direction of Samantha Green. I suppose I couldn't blame her. Samantha was the blonde-haired, blue-eyed dove who was no doubt gawked at many by passing face. But she was different with Madeline. She would just stare. At first she would avert her gaze when Samantha would glance at her, feeling her eyes burrowing into her own profile. For after a month or so, when a fellow classmate would whisper to Samantha, "She's doing it again," and when Samantha would turn to see in her glare, Madeline simply sat with her hands folded, always right over left. She continued to stare at the vacant expression until Samantha would raise her hand and ask to use the restroom, excusing herself for the remainder of the period. This became the norm until about halfway through the semester, when Mr. Decker was out of the room. Madeline subjected Samantha with one of the routine stare-downs. Only this time, instead of excusing herself, Samantha stood up and walked over to Madeline. The class fell silent as Samantha proceeded to verbally assault Madeline, who at this point concentrated herself stare back at the chalkboard. Samantha continued spewing profanities, left, right, and center, for nearly 5 minutes. Her tan skinned and boiled over to a light crimson by the time she was finished. We all expect Madeline to run out crying. I found myself wanting to run to her side, but in the deafening silence kept me seated. Samantha then took her seat and continued her work. And then, it looked as if though Madeline wasn't going to form a rebuttal, but we all did the same. After for a few minutes, an unfamiliar voice pierced through the atmosphere of the classroom. "You have beautiful eyes." She had not uttered a single word all semester, but we all looked at the same desk in front of the classroom. We knew exactly who it was. Madeline. She turned her gaze back to Samantha, whose face had been contorted into absolute fear, as through this simple compliment or were something much more malevolent through her eyes. You stay the hell away from me, you understand?" Samantha fumbled to maintain her composure as she picked up her books and left the room. Madeline continued her work. This was the last time Samantha Green sat in her first period class. Then she switched out next day or 2 weeks, foreseeing to the indecent, and everything was fine. Madeline Finch then took her usual seat that Monday morning at 8:03, sitting with her hands folded always right over left, staring blankly at the chalkboard until the bell rang at 8:05. It was on this day that Mr. Decker read his unscheduled announcement. "Our fellow schoolmate Samantha Green went missing last Friday. Her mom reported her missing when she did not arrive home after school on Friday afternoon. Her backpack was discovered under the bridge near Amphimorpha Park that evening. Police do suspect foul play. If any of you have any further information on Miss Green's whereabouts, I urge you to contact." I'm not sure why I turned out Mr. Decker's announcement, but to that point, I can't help but contribute to the blue eyes that had not shifted from the place on the chalkboard to turn and meet my gaze. And that, my little pretties, was Madeline's Eyes. A Madeline, not Madeline, but it's a creepypasta written by Favabean. My final thoughts on the story. All right. I discovered this story maybe about 2019 or something, but didn't really have the chance to narrate this story till now. I end up, coming across this narration of this story from Midnight Siren about 5 years ago, and I know Silver Stories also narrated this as well as Revolutionary Productions. So I decided to go out of my way and give it a shot at narrating this story. So what did I honestly think? Well, basically, this story takes place in a school, a high school to be exact. I mean, it's really interesting to see that it took place during a high school. Madeline's like this girl who's in class and she's getting bullied by Samantha quite a lot. And then I think a few days later, Samantha ends up going missing. I think I do have a theory as to what happened. Either Samantha Green ends up, getting kidnapped, in this story. Like, I think it's either Samantha got kidnapped near the bridge, or she was killed. It's most likely that she was killed, but yet again, who really knows what happened to her? Because this story obviously gives us, some hints as to what could have happened to Samantha. Well, probably Samantha either took her own life, or at the very least, she could have, been killed or something. Maybe someone killed her or something, or maybe kidnapped her per se. But who really knows? I mean, this story honestly leaves me some questions on, what happened to Samantha. I'm encouraging to want to know what actually happened to Samantha. Like, I really maybe there's a part 2 of this story. Like, if there is a part 2 of this, that would be really cool. If there is a part 2 to it, because that would probably explain what happened or something. But I mean, this girl Madeline gets, bullied by Samantha. I mean, it's a pretty good concept, taking place at the time where, a student was, getting bullied or something. So, with that being the case, I mean, I really found this story to be, pretty good, to be honest. I mean, it is possible that this story actually has a pretty good concept for how it is, but yet again, I'm not really sure what actually happened. I mean, you guys could come up with your thoughts and theories on, what happened to Samantha, because my guess is she's probably either got kidnapped, killed, probably was stolen or something, or maybe she took her own life. It's hard to say of what happened to this Samantha character. I mean, this Samantha character was honestly the one who, was bullying Madeline. But yet again, I do enjoy how well made this concept is, especially for, how well this story was, made in a sense. Now, anyways, I mean, that's just me. You guys can, feel free to leave me what your thoughts and theories are down in the comments below because, yeah, I like to hear your thoughts. My final rating of the story, I mean, like I'm going to say, this is my own opinion. You happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regarding these creepypastas. This is simply my own personal thoughts. Oh, and by the way, the grammar of this story is absolutely beautiful, as well as the sentence structuring and the storyline, and even the plot of it is pretty good. It's not, starting off anything scary with jump scares or anything like that. It's a pretty good storyline. So with that being said, my final rating of the story is a 10 out of 10. It's beautiful, really well made. I do find this to be enjoyable. There's definitely a lot of time and effort into this story, and I honestly really liked it. So anyways, with that being the case and with that being said, what did you guys think about this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're new to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And I guess, as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. So please roll the outro because I'm out.